So, the average American is living a lifestyle that is 3 times greater than the Earth's capacity to support them. This is also true for many other people in developed nations, and the developing world is catching up fast. Needless to say, the environmental impact of human activity is stressing the Earth. But how do we know this? Well, there are many red flags that we see in the environment that tell us. We're going to look at a list of 8 of them. First is forests. The Earth's forests play a critical role in absorbing carbon emissions, and the planet's largest forest, the Amazon rainforest, has been referred to as the lungs of the planet. However, the Earth has lost a third of its forest since humans began to develop agriculture 12,000 years ago. That amounts to an area 2 times greater than the landmass of the United States. Forests are being cleared for human settlement and for agriculture. A full million hectares were lost from the planet every year between 1980 and 1990. This time lapse shows the deforestation of the African island of Madagascar, as seen through satellite imagery between 1984 and 2016. The figure here shows rates of deforestation since 1950 in some of the world's most important forested areas: the Amazon, the Congo Basin in Central Africa, and Southeast Asia. As you can see, while there may be some improvements occurring in deforestation of the Amazon, represented in the green bar, the rate of deforestation in the Congo and Southeast Asia continues to rise. The next indicator of stress can be seen in the Earth's soil. Healthy soil is rich, full of nutrients, and beneficial microscopic organisms. I bet you can probably tell just by looking at the image below which soil is healthy and which one isn't. Poor practices in agricultural management have been depleting the quality of soil, which in turn reduces its productivity for raising crops. It is estimated that the soil quality is 1/5 of the world's arable land has already been severely degraded. The third stress indicator is fresh water. Living in Arizona, we are probably aware of this one. Strain on fresh water resources is becoming more serious in many areas around the world. As snowpacks and snow melts and decrease, reservoirs dry up, and drought conditions continue to worsen. Arizona's access to fresh water, especially from the Colorado River, is among those resources that are highly threatened. This time lapse shows an aerial view of Lake Powell on the Arizona Utah border between 1991 and 2015. Lake Powell is fed by the Colorado River and is a testament to how strained this freshwater source really is. This is all happening against a world backdrop where many people still lack access to clean and safe water at all. Next is the state of marine fisheries, meaning ocean habitats from which fish are sourced for human consumption. About 35% of the ocean's fisheries are being overfished, meaning that fishermen are taking too many fish out of the ecosystem, and the population can't fully recover and replenish for future seasons. So the fish yield is declining. Another 25% of being are being fished at their maximum yield and pushing the boundary of overfishing. Aquaculture, or in other words, fish farms, are one solution to increase fish yields, but fish farms are notoriously polluting and responsible for significant habitat destruction. Biodiversity is another indicator of stress. Biodiversity describes the range of species present in ecosystems, and that range of species is decreasing due to human driven habitat destruction. Many species have already gone extinct. Over 42,000 species are considered threatened, including 41% of amphibians, 27% of mammals, 34% of cone bearing trees such as pines, 36% of coral, and much more. This figure shows an estimated rate of extinction for different groups of animals over the course of the past 5 centuries, and you can see that for all groups, the rate of species loss is increasing. We can also see stress indications in the atmosphere, which reflects in the planet's climate. Emissions of carbon dioxide from human activity continues to increase worldwide. Since 1970, emissions from the US alone have almost doubled, increasing by 90%. While some efforts are being made to reduce emissions in certain parts of the world, the overall emissions remain very high. The numbers continue to rise in many countries that are moving toward industrialization. Waste is the next indicator. When we say waste, we mean the normal sort of waste that is generated by humans from their daily activities, the trash that you throw away, as well as the waste from industrial processes. We will distinguish this from hazardous waste in just a moment. In terms of general waste, levels are increasing, especially in industrialized countries where waste generation has tripled in the past 20 years. The amount of things that we throw away is going up. Americans throw away 34 billion pounds of clothes every year, which equates to 81 pounds per person. Another example, 30 to 40% of food ends up being thrown away in the US, whether that's leftovers you didn't want to eat, food that gets thrown away by restaurants, or even crops that are left unharvested in the fields because the market wasn't buying them at an agreeable price to the farmer. Countries that are moving toward industrialization are likely to follow suit as they build wealth and become more significant consumers of products as well. Lastly, we have the presence of hazardous waste and toxic chemicals in the environment and in the bodies of living things is our final stress indicator. When we say hazardous wastes and toxic chemicals, we mean byproducts of industries that are harmful to living things. For example, heavy metal drainage from mining, which contaminates soil and water, and then by extension, ecosystems and crops. A while back, an issue that got a lot of attention in the news was the presence of high levels of lead in basically all dark chocolate products on the market. Lead is an example of one of those heavy metal contaminants. There are also many known toxins that continue to be used in household products. Many of these compounds do not break down easily and persist for many years. For example, in one report by the CDC in 2015, 97% of Americans were found to have PFAs in their bloodstream, which are a group of chemicals used to make things like nonstick pans, stain resistant fabric, even cosmetic products. Exposure to PFAs has been linked to harmful health impacts in humans and animals alike. Another example is red number 3 dye, a petroleum based chemical that is used to impart a vibrant red color in manufactured products. Red number 3 dye is outright banned in the European Union, and the FDA banned its use in cosmetics and topical medications in the 1990s because it was shown to cause cancer. However, what is completely mind boggling is that it's still legally used as a colorant in food and drinks in the US, including products like Skittles, cake mixes, protein shakes, etc. These are just a couple of examples where we know about the harm that they cause. And there are many more chemicals being used and released into the environment where we don't know their impact because it hasn't been studied.